they said it's supposed to say official in the little seal, right? Obviously, they're idiots. It doesn't. It says official or official, right?
To recoup, choose someone else's poop.
Remember they said it's supposed to say official in the little seal, right? Obviously, they're idiots. It doesn't. It says official or official, right?
To recoup, choose someone else's poop.
How we doing, folks? Y'all doing all right? Glad to hear it, glad to hear it, glad to hear it. Yeah, right. Yeah. Always. Yeah. How we doing, folks? Doing all right? Glad to hear it, glad to hear it. Yeah, I get all shit over here. Now, are we ready for this thing to start the right way now? Huh, folks? Are we? Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we really ready? I didn't give y'all the chances I could. I know a bunch of y'all were just chomping at the bit to get in here, but I'm so glad y'all here. I hope we got some truth sayers, some naysayers, some wannabes, and some can't be's, and we can all have a good time together. Somebody's got to take the brother force. Somebody has to be relied upon to be the gopher, okay? So everybody just draw you up a chair, get comfortable, get you one of the donuts if you have serious problems. Whatever you got to do, throw your feet up, enjoy yourself. We got a very good crowd here tonight. We have a very, very intelligent group of people up here that's going to discuss a lot of things with you. Again, a while ago, when our little practice run, so to speak, Jimbo was talking about the murder for hire deal. I'm just going to go ahead and collaborate on that. That was basically, it was brought to the FBI's attention, folks. All of us met. That's how we met. We all came from different sides. We all had one certain goal, trying to put out the truth where truth was failing to reach. Protect those that was being hurt along the way. The oddity was the fact that what was being said, the complete hypocrisy in what was being said. I mean, they were to be for the children and for the people, for we the people, kept bringing out the persona of we the people. But at the same time, if we the people didn't agree with this certain individual, we the people were being bashed. We the people were being shit on. We the people had our families and our children put in danger by Batman and those people. Now, that's the way it is. That's a fact. Can't have that. You can hide it if you want to. You can try to paint over it if you want to. The fact is, we all seen it. We all dealt with it. We all lived through it. Now, the man, these two men right here, these two individuals are just two of the many that have been fighting the fight, so to speak. They all got caught up in this tangled up web. One of the guests up here was caught up into it because he was just involved in a group, in a chat group from down home, involved with them. Next thing you know, because some kind of naysayers, some kind of didn't agree one way or the other, they started seeing people defamed, defaced, basically just shunning them, even accusing them of being things that was just completely preposterous. But we all know how lies are. Lie can get around the world a whole lot quicker on crutches than truth can get around an airplane. That's a fact. We've seen it. We see it every day. Truth is not colorful enough. A lie seems to just always just carry on. But when a lie fades away, what usually is left after that lie? The wounds, the scars. Sometimes they don't heal. Sometimes we're left with a mark. We got to deal with it. Like the notorious, mark of, the adulterous mark, the scarlet letter, so to speak. We're left to hold that. We're always remembered by that mark, no matter if it's the lie itself or the perpetrator that done it. Bottom line is, nobody usually apologizes for shit. Truth is always out there, but nobody cares about truth. They want to attack that lie. That's where we all come ourselves into right here. But it come to all of us being, we started meeting, we met each other. And I swear to God, the last 6 months, it seems like it's been 20 years. It's a very long time. But in that 6 months, a lot has happened. A whole lot has happened. Especially when you change the narrative every 24 hours, more than you change your underwear, you're going to have that tendency for that to happen. These two men I would like to bring to the forefront for you folks. I got, first of all, Jimbo Collins, former retired wrestler. How you doing, Jimbo?
Doing good. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. I also got Matt Kemper. Matt Kemper is a man of many sorts.
Hello, guys.
How you doing, boss? I was just telling them that pretty much we've all had our share of wounds we've had to carry. This burden that we chose to carry. It's just about being right, about telling the truth, more or less. It's not the fact that being with the facts. I mean, if you can sit there and accuse somebody of something, be factual with it. Bring something to the table. We've all had that thrown in our laps. We've accused it so much. So I'm just telling them, everybody here knows the feeling. Some of y'all have been that way. Some of you have, in retrospect, have had to deal with it. But we're going to talk about that tonight. But we don't, like I said before, I know that the way the internet was going a while ago, I'm hoping I got it straightened out. We were talking about the infamous murder for hire. Mind you, folks, that murder for hire has been changed so many times. And some of y'all have heard the same recording, but y'all heard it used in different aspects. Matter of fact, recently, the same recording was used as another way of trying to explain something away. I can't keep up with all of them, but that's just the narrative you have to deal with here. What it basically boils down to is it depends on what the relations it needs to be to him. It's whatever narrative he's trying to push. That's how it goes. Max, it's not about you tonight, Hush.
I think this dog is barking at my dogs and back on somewhere.
He barks when he hears something that don't limb move out back. But I want to go ahead and elaborate on that video, on that audio. Explain that, because some of them might not have heard it last time. What was going on? We'll start from there. Y'all bear with us, folks. There's a lot of this information y'all need to be picking up.
All right, well, I'll just start from right from the beginning of how that audio came in to be a thing. Ernie and another friend of mine, Chris, were at that time both, I considered them good friends. I've known Chris since I was like 6 or 7 years old, all the way back in first grade or so. And I've known Ernie for 20 years. Anyway, those they're very similar in one aspect, and that's the conspiracy theory type thing, and they're both full on that. I would think they would anyway. But Chris is a businessman, and he's been a very successful businessman. And he took out some kind of government loans they have, and the federal government is investigating him over it. So he thought Ernie had something to do with that, and I told him right up front I didn't think Ernie did have anything to do with that. I told him I didn't think Ernie was intelligent enough to even insert himself into something like that. But that's where Chris's part was in. Now, Chris never. Let me say this up front. Chris never offered her for hire or money for anybody to kill Ernie Shell. I made that up. That's on me. And Ernie, his conspiracy stuff. I've known him, like I said, for 20 years, and I've probably got between a dozen and 2 dozen messages and screenshots I could dig up that where Ernie is, claiming people are trying to kill him. There's a hit for me. There's people shooting at me, people chasing me, and everybody's seen these videos of dreaming up people chasing him down the road, wanting to kill him, hiding knives in his car. I mean, I just know that side of him, and I know, that that's a thing with him. So I thought, and Ernie's also money hungry. So I thought, because these two friends are at each other and arguing back and forth, and you tell this one that, and you tell that one that. Ernie said, I'm going to knock his teeth down his throat. Chris says, he can be the FBI guy, he can be his cellmate or my teammate. They're just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's all through me. So I'm getting tired of it. So I made up a story. I called Ernie. I told him, hey man, Chris, I got a hit for you. He's trying to hire a hitman. I said, but he hasn't hired a hitman. He's trying to go through me. Because I'm controlling it, right? I just want Ernie to think that, because then I'm thinking Ernie will say, you tell Chris, he owes me money and blah, blah, blah. And just forget about that, and I'll forget about this, and we'll just go our separate ways. That's what I was thinking was going to happen. That's not what happened. So next day or so, I think it was the very next day, I'm called by the FBI. Special agent called me. I've still got the voicemail on my phone. There's a threat, for a pretty serious threat on somebody. I need you to come in and talk to me about it. So I set up an appointment and I went in and talked to him about it. And I told him pretty much everything I just told you right here on this live video. And, I told him a lot of backstory on Ernie that I knew, and, why I thought he would just go on. And, he said, well, I know all this, which he's an FBI agent and investigator, so I'm sure he does know it. I offered him my phone, offered him, whatever he wanted from me, even offered lie detector test. I'll do whatever. All he wanted to know when I left was, is there a real threat on Ernie's life? And I said, no, sir. And that's it. There is none. There never was. And you just think about it, like, who is he? Like, he's a career criminal, a scam artist, not, he wants to threaten people with slander and libel and defamation, but he's got a track record of scamming people for money and not delivering what he's promised.
Now, he has been in trouble before, just on one occasion. So I know of. I mean, several times he's done it before. He has been caught for that stuff. Not really. You're stating a fact there. That's not
right. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's the FBI knows that. They knew that. And so when I left there, my understanding was, and I had an attorney with me, because the FBI, you want everything to be official. But he, when I left there, I was under the understanding that was it. There was no threat for Ernie, and so that was it. That's the last I've heard from him. And Ernie has threatened me over and over, time and time again, over and over. I'm going to release these tapes. I'm going to release this audio. But he's released it 100 times. Like, it ain't going to change. So why keep threatening me with it? So, that's the murder for hire in a nutshell. No pun intended, unless you want to take it that way. But there is no murder for hire. Never was murder for hire. And I will say this: all these people he's saying is involved in the murder for hire that he's going to sue and prosecute, like Griff, Kemper, and who in the hell ever else, I didn't even know them when I made that phone call to Ernie. Like, I met them because of Ernie. I met you because of Ernie. Because of his big mouth and his threats. I mean, it's terrible that he's doing it, but hell, I'm glad I made some new friends, man. You guys are pretty cool. I mean, I feel blessed, Bad things make good things, I guess. So that is what that is. Now, I can't hear you. If you're speaking to me, I've lost.
All right, I'm going to mute you just a second. That's how we had to play this game. I'm having to play musical mute. So, Matt, I know you're still muted out there, but just bear with me. I'm going to get you on here. We've got of course, let's open it up so we can get the people in here. somehow the way the algorithm was set up, I screwed it up somehow. But anyway, I got it open up now. Of course, it's open the gate. We have a guest in here claiming a comment. And I'm gonna say it to you. You can hear me, can't you? Can you hear me, Jimbo? Okay. I'm gonna tell you what she said. I'm gonna put it up on the screen so you can see it. Just you can see what I look at the screen there. You can see the comment there. That's what was said. I'm having a meeting right now, folks, until I can get through talking to y'all. I'm gonna let him answer that question right quick.
That's a complete lie. Show me the screenshot. I'd love to see it. I'd pay to see it. Show it to me.
Y'all, we're gonna have an echo here. We're gonna go continue on. I'm gonna try to bring Matthew in, let him tell his side right quick, Jimbo, how he got joined in, and we're gonna continue on with the show. That's just get our feet wet. We knew it was gonna be like this. We knew we got to deal with issues like this. No problem. We got this, but I'm gonna mute you again, Jimbo, and I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna let Matt come on. Matt, I'm gonna lead you in right quick. You got joined in through a chat group, so to speak. Basically of your hometown, right? Newport. And you were basically infiltrated more or less by a group of radicalists, I should say. That was basically trying to spread information you didn't approve of, correct? I'm gonna bring her in right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We were, well, actually, I was in two groups for the Newport community in Cobb County, and Tina and Xander, Ernie, they would come in there and try to share their Predator in the Park videos, which is basically exploiting a mentally handicapped man, the guy that they were trying to spread. They would come in there talking about how there were underground tunnels in the area of Cosby, Hallstop, where kids are being kidnapped and kept and abused, and nobody knows about it. And they try to imply that our local officials are involved in this kind of thing. So we would play with them a little bit and then boot them out. They'd come back in with another profile, we'd boot them out, and it just kept on and on. And finally, I started meeting some of these people that were in these Facebook groups, and come to find out, they've been doing this for a while, and they would go and take your Facebook screenshot of your profile. They would put pictures of your family, you, your employer, whatever. They put those on there and imply that you're a pedophile or a protector of pedophiles. And of course, that's a strong accusation to make anybody. The only reason that they made these accusations is because we questioned their claims. We asked for proof that there are these kids in our community in underground tunnels. They couldn't. The only thing that they could do is call us pedophiles. And I mean, they've gone as far as to stalk people at their homes, try to extort them many, many times. Oh, don't you say that kind of thing, or we're going to do this. Well, all we're doing is telling the truth here. They don't like the truth. They want to tell lies, and when they get caught on it, and they want to get crazy. You know? So it was probably 3 months into dealing with them by myself, and I started meeting these people. And then come August, when they decided that they were going to solve the Summer Wells case, a lot of people from a lot of different Facebook groups showed up, pretty much trolling and protesting these people for what they were doing. Because, I mean, it was pretty obvious this is a scam. I mean, before Ernie showed up in Newport, there was already tons of things being said about the people that run the Hemp Cafe. And it's Newport, it's a small town, so people talk. Well, when you work for a competitor, of theirs, you really hear what they had to say. And it was similar to what they were doing on Facebook with people's information and stuff like that. But like I said, these people showed up around the time they injected themselves into the Summer Wells investigation. And they started really getting trolled really hard. The next thing you know, he pushes out this audio. And we're like, oh, this is going to be another BS story of his. And we listen, and all of a sudden, we hear our names in it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm trying to kill this guy? No, I want him to leave my hometown and leave people that I love alone. That's what I want. And, shit. Oh, we heard our names in that audio. Well, I started trying to find out who Jimbo was. I talked to Chris in that path to find out what was going on. I talked to Jimbo. I've talked to quite a few people. And what I've come to learn is that, as Jimbo stated earlier, Ernie thinks everybody's trying to kill him. And this is a pattern. Now, as the highway videos show, and the apartment with the police video shows, this is a real thing to him. Now, I've told him personally, dude, go get some help. You need help. Go do that. Things will get better. And he wants to come back like he's hard. So it's whatever. That's his choice. But the fact of the matter is he's been scamming, living off of other people's paychecks, telling lies to get it. And yeah, there's a lot of innocent people that they have come after and slandered in their hometown. Some of them run a soup kitchen. It is a Christian ministry that tries to help people in need. They've slandered people that work 12 steps, who work on their sobriety. They're trying to help others work their sobriety. They slander them. They've slandered our law enforcement. They've slandered and come after county board members. And, I mean, it's never stopped. And the list keeps getting bigger. I don't understand how some people don't see this, but once you just look, it's right there, you know? But yeah, that's how I can show and team ephemerally.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. I'm going to mute you just for a second so I can get this clarified. Tina Simmerly has come across here again. I'm going to answer this one for her, if you don't mind. I see all that's another thing about the one-sided situation that always ends up coming across. Y'all are always the victim. I've noticed that. And I really feel for the victim. I'm for all the victims. I really am. Survivors that have been taken advantage of, stomped on. But what the irony is, though, it is always with a reaction. That was a reaction to something that didn't agree with you. Sort of like eating a rotten hot dog or something. You know, the reaction is what comes out afterwards. More or less what happened in every point with y'all. And it's not slander, but I mean, it's sort of mine. Do y'all have the screenshots of where of the slander that you did to the other people? Of course not. You got the slander side, what you're calling slander, which is actually truth. There's no evidence of slander, but y'all put all over y'all screenshots about what y'all say about people when you call them pedophiles, you call them, sex traffickers, everything like that, because they don't agree with you, or that, they find some kind of evidence against you, or they see faults in you. As long as everybody agrees with your side of the story, then it's okay. Now, there's two sides to every coin, but we don't ever see that side of it. We see that side on this side. We see the facts and what was said, even when in the videos that your buddy Ernie puts out. He does not pull no punches when he decides he wants to slander somebody. He can go from 0 to 60 just that quick, from being nice to nothing, to be just all about the people, and then turn around and just dog cuss the hell out of somebody for no reason because they don't agree with it. But that's normal. We're used to that. But we're going to carry on. I just wanted to answer. I didn't want to think she was not being paid attention to. Jimbo, as far as the slander and everything that you're talking, you've known Ernie for several years now. You can pretty much get us back to the beginning of it, and start us to the get us up to pace to right at the point of this whole night anyway. Take us back to whenever you first actually met Ernie, and if you don't mind.
when I first met Ernie, it was I was a professional wrestler, and I owned my own wrestling show with a wrestling ring, of course. So we had an event coming up in Harlan, which is where Harlan County is where Ernie and I are both from. Now I was living in Lexington when this event took place, but I was in Harlan, promoting the event. And somebody called me and was like, man, there's a little bitty guy out here in your ring showing people wrestling moves and stuff, saying he used to wrestle for NWA. And back then, 20 years ago, that was pretty fresh off of NWA selling out to WCW and was a pretty big deal, So I said, well, who is it? They said, Ernie Shell. I've never heard that name in my life. He's from Harlan. I said, my best wrestler from Harlan is me. So, and I'm not wrestling for NWA, so I'm going to go out there and check it out. So I went out there, and there he was. Right there at the ring, bouncing around, not knowing jack turd about anything, trying to teach my guys that I'm training to be professional wrestlers how to wrestle. And what he's really trying to do is get them killed, because that's what happens. You don't know how to wrestle when you get in the ring with somebody. You hurt somebody or you get hurt yourself. Wait on it. So I'm like, come here, man. And he come down there and come out of the ring. I said, who are you? He said, I'm Ernie Shell, new franchise. I said, well, I ain't never heard of you. And he's like, well, who are you? And I said, I'm Jimbo Collins, and this is my damn ring. Oh, how you doing, buddy? Shook his hand out. I want to be my buddy then. And I got a 125-pound Akita licking on me here. But anyway, I shook his hand. I'm a gentleman. I'm a nice guy. I gave him an opportunity to lie to me. So I took my hand out there, and he nearly ripped my hand off, my shoulder off. And if you know anything about professional wrestling, that's not how we shake hands. And from wrestler to wrestler, there's a certain way you shake each other's hand. And if somebody is stiff like that and squeezes your hand like they're trying to break it, or jerks your arm when they shake your hand, you don't want to get in the ring with somebody like that, because they're dangerous. They've never been trained, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So, which was him. He's officially not a good wrestler. He's a good con man, though. And we did end up becoming friends over some time. And but first, he said, hey man, I want to do this reality fighting. It's like MMA, except I'm gonna call mine Reality Fighting Championships, RFC. I said, all right. He said, well, I need a ring. I said, how much you charge me? I don't remember how much I charged him, but he wanted to have a 2-night event at Kaywood High School, big old, really nice gym in Harlan County there, and it's a dome gym, super, super nice. At one time, it was one of the only dome gyms for in high school in the country. Super nice. Don't know how in the world he got talked his way into using it, because back then it was super hard to get in school, especially for mixed martial arts. So he said, I'm going to run like a tough man. We're going to do a 2-night show, having a tournament, crown a champion. And so I don't know if you know a whole lot about MMA, but just to teach you a little bit about Ernie, when I took my ring out there and we rented it to him, and he's letting these guys get in the ring and fight each other. They're wearing blue jeans. Nobody's wearing mouthpieces. Some of them wearing gloves. Some of them ain't wearing gloves. Wearing shoes and boots, kicking each other with them, like just super dangerous, crazy, obnoxious, crazy stuff.
Sounded more like a tough man contest, wasn't it?
It was a whole lot like a tough man contest. A whole lot like a tough man contest. But there was a bunch of people there. He made a lot of money. And at the end of the night, he claimed he didn't make no money because he paid everybody, which there was no pro MMA in Kentucky for a long time. That's another story for another day. But so you couldn't legally pay a fighter because that makes them professional. But Ernie paid everybody, and right down to the ring men and people who helped take up tickets. I think he paid like his family, sisters and mom or somebody. I don't remember exactly who, but he paid them like $200 a piece just to take tickets at the door. So at the end of the night, he said, "I don't have any money left." Like, well, you got to pay me. You're not gonna have it tomorrow night. He's like, "Oh no, you can't do me that way." I'm like, "Dude, you made all kinds of money. You got to pay me." So I paid everybody else. So that's my ring. So I told the guys, I said, "Just take it down." So 5 minutes later, Ernie goes, "I got the money. He paid me." So he did really well, even though he says he didn't. So he wanted to have another one right back. A month later, different gym. At Loyal Elementary School, which is out of business now, and the fire department kind of runs it. At that time, it's like the little city council owns it now or whatever. But at that point, the fire department was doing everything. And it may still be that. The city council may be tied in with the fire department. Not 100% sure, but anyway, he had his next event at the school at Loyal. And that kills me to say Loyal. That's where I'm from. We pronounce it Loyal. So I'm not going to say Loyal anymore. It's Loyal. So anyway, this night I rented in the ring, but I was booked on a wrestling show because I was still actively professionally wrestling in another town. So I wasn't there. Well, he tried to pull that stuff again about, he couldn't pay the guys. And he took a bunch of advance ticket money in. And there's stories behind that, too, about Ernie taking money before he actually, like his shirts now, he takes a bunch of money, then he goes and orders some shirts. But that's what's got him in trouble with a lot of his fans, too. But I told my guy, I was like, you make Ernie pay you, or you don't set the ring up. And the guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a wrestler. His wrestling name was Blade. Well, Blade called me. He's like, Ernie said he don't have the money until they open the gates. He can't pay me. I was like, Ernie's got the money because he took up advance tickets, and you do not set that ring up unless Ernie pays you. So he called me back a few minutes later. He paid me, Bo, but man, he cussed you, just fat MF for this, fat MF for that. I'm going to put this fat MF out of business. I'm going to start my own wrestling show, and I'm going to show him how it's really done with the promotions and blah, 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 blah. So I told Blade, I said, all right, that's cool. I said, I won't be there until after the event. I said, Ernie's going to deal with me when I get there, but you go right down there in that locker room right now, tell all those fighters that I'm going to run an MMA show, and I'm going to run it right. And if they want to fight for a real promoter that knows how to handle promoting events, but that will put asses in the seats and money in their hands, get them noticed, get their records officially turned in, they will come fight for me. Just get their numbers, whatever you need to do, tell them to contact me. So he did. And Ernie was pissed. Well, Ernie goes in there, and here's the really funny part. Side note: Ernie is fighting a young kid named Les Cox. God rest his soul. He's not with us anymore. But Les was smaller than Ernie, quite a bit smaller than Ernie. And Ernie went down in the locker room and paid Les. Now this is common knowledge. Paid Les to take a dive. So Les goes out, and in the third round, I guess he's supposed to go down, but he didn't. So I think it ended in a draw, and they had an overtime round, and Les came out and just whipped Ernie's ass in the 3rd round. Took his money for taking a dive and then whipped him. As soon as they announced the decision that Ernie had lost, he fell over, grabbed his heart, grabbed his chest. He's dying, you know. So they take him out on an ambulance, and the firefighters. My uncle was one of them. He's passed away now too, and the other one now is the police chief in Everett. But they caught Ernie's. I want to say it was his mother. I'm almost 100% positive it was his mother. Ticket takers, you know, and people who were working the door and had all the money, because he was supposed to split the money with the fire department. And she was headed out the back door, and they weren't going to pay anybody. So they stopped her. Said, you owe us money. And then I guess she had stuff down in places, you know, that people wouldn't normally look. So she had to dig out that money and pay the fire department. But that is how I met good old Ernie. You know, met the guy on a lie, and it's been nothing but lies for 20 years.
I appreciate that, Jimbo. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. We're gonna go to what I'm gonna do now is I want to go to the. All right, when you met Ernie, that was been said it was 2001, right? 2001 when you said it was. Nod your head. Yeah. 2002, yeah, 3. That was prior to the 2013 thing with Shelby. I want to just when you first met Ernie, you didn't know much more. You didn't know much about Shelby, did you? At all. I'm gonna try to lead into this. Basically, what Shelby's background was. Tell me a little bit about what you knew about Shelby prior to the incident that happened.
I didn't know Shelby at all. The night that Ernie, you've seen the video of Ernie getting whipped in the MMA fight, that lasted like a minute. That night, Shelby fought that night too, and he got whipped too. So the Shell brothers both took an ass whipping on that night. But no, I didn't know Shelby at all. I had met him that night to have him sign the release form, the waiver to fight. But no, you know, before that and even after that, I couldn't have picked him out of a lineup, other than he looks like Ernie.
When you basically to the point, Ernie pretty much. When you seen Shelby, that's about the last time you seen Shelby. Shelby was in and out of pretty much. He was gone for a while, pretty much, for certain instances, right?
Yes, he has. I come to find out when I was reintroduced to him, like an actual introduction. Ernie brought him to our house. He had been in prison.
Right. And what was that? What was that for? Do you know what you
Yeah, Ernie and Shelby both told me that he was entering people's homes on wheels, and tying old people up, putting them in their closet, and robbing them. And eventually, they say he got caught doing that, and that's what he was in prison for.
All right, we 2013, February 2013. Police responded to a call in Kentucky on a house where the house burnt down. They had found the body of a former mayor of Everett, Kentucky. I think I'm saying that right. Ronnie King. His body had been tied, shot in the head twice. Didn't have no suspects, none whatsoever. They didn't have no clue what had happened. At that moment, I mean, word had gotten out, but Jimbo lived in another town, close by, but not right there on top of it. Him and this is how they found out about that case.
Yeah, so Ernie, we live in Corbin. Ernie lives with his girlfriend in Corbin. I'm living there with my family, my wife, kids.
Bob, I got you muted for a second. I'm going to say this right quick. Folks, this is a trigger alert. I want y'all to understand now. This is part of the show that y'all need to pay attention to. Just be careful. We've got warnings, disclaimer at the front. To cover this, it's about the preceding points, and also what led up to the events happened February 2013 with Shelby Lee Shell. Y'all might want to listen to this right quick. I'm gonna unmute you right quick, Jimbo. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine. You're fine. Now, this Ernie had brought Shelby over in November because it was right before Thanksgiving, and introduced him to my mom and me and my young children. Told us the story about him being in prison, and all that. Said he needed work, and so until he found work, I put him to work because I was making pretty decent money myself on the, with MMA and wrestling and everything. So. I wasn't rich, but I had a little money to help people out with. And Ernie, like I said, Ernie was a good friend of mine. We treated Ernie like family, like one of our kids. Kind of like a brother, but also, if you knew Ernie, more like a kid. And but anyway, so in February, I don't know the dates. I can't remember. The only date I know was the date we went up to Harlan, which was so he came over. So I guess it is the date, but he came over. I think it was February the 18th because my birthday's on the 19th. Pretty sure. So Ernie brings Shelby to the house, and we're all talking. There's a basement in the house where we're at. Myself, Ernie's girlfriend, my wife were down there. My wife went upstairs, I think, cooking, whatever she was doing. But Ernie's girlfriend stayed down there for sure because she has some outlandish claims. But so I remember for sure she was in there. So Shelby just comes out and is like, he told us he killed Ronnie King. And I had never heard the name Ronnie King in my life before that. So, and he told us, he shot him. He's like, Jimbo, he said, I borrowed your gun, and that's what I shot him with. I had a 38 Rossi, old wheel gun. It was, old. It had been repaired, and I bought it from a friend. It was a good gun, good legal gun. It was in my underwear drawer. Some of the work that I had Shelby do was moving furniture around because, like I said, we had downstairs and upstairs, and we had some side rooms that you had to go outside and get to. But so when he said I borrowed your gun, he stole my gun. He didn't ask me if he could borrow it. So I'm sitting there like deer in the headlights, like, oh my God, I've got a killer sitting right here. And I believed him, right? He wouldn't have no reason to lie. Cold eyes, eyes. It was real. Was you gonna say something, Griff?
No, I just see if the echo was going to kick in. You go right ahead.
But so Shelby lived in Berea, which is another hour north of Lexington. And when Shelby left, I'm looking at Ernie like, dude, we got to go, tell them this in Harlan. Like, they're looking for suspects, asking for help. And they had actually, I don't know if they arrested them. I know they pulled two in, didn't get the name, and he would be a good guess for you too. But they brought these guys in, they murdered them.
They already had two suspects by this time. By the time he admitted to you, they had two suspects.
But no evidence. No evidence whatsoever. Somebody had told them they saw those boys up there. But now, according to them, I cannot remember that kid's name, but according to them, like, they were cleared before they even got to the police station. Like, their alibis were solid. But anyway, so told Ernie, we got to go, man. And Ernie was all about it. Ernie's like, yeah, man, we got to, let's go to Harlan. So we called ahead, told him we had, we know who did it. and we're coming up there to tell them, give them all the info we got. So now this was late at night. When we went to Harlan, it was midnight or later. I don't remember exact times or even exact dates for sure, but it's all documented in the investigation and trial and all that. But so we drove up there, my wife and I, Ernie and his girlfriend, all in the same car, my car. So we drove up there and we go in, and again, my wife didn't want any part of it. She didn't hear him say it. She sat in the car. Ernie's girlfriend wanted to go in, and she had some jewelry that Shelby had given her, and she said that they think it was from a dead hooker in Lexington, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, whole nother side story. But anyway, so they want, the lead detective of the case with state police was Mike Cornett, and the Harlan County Sheriff was there. But they wanted to speak to us separately, I guess, so we would look at each other and say, yes or no, and cooperate, and kind of, whatever. Well, I'm sure they have their investigative reasons. Ernie could probably tell you because he is a terrific investigator. He played with Indians when he was a kid. But they took Ernie first, and my God, I swear, it seemed like 2 hours. I know it was over an hour before they talked to me. Ernie told them, his story and all this, and so then I told him, when I went in, I was probably tops 15 minutes, just told him what Shelby told me there in front of Ernie, and told him about my gun. I said, I asked him, was it a 38? Because that's the gun that he claims, and they were like, yeah, that's it. So Ernie's like, we can get him to confess, he said, I can get him to confess right now. Ernie talks real fast. He said, can we call him? Can we call him? Can you record it right now? I'll get him to confess right now. So they went in the room, Ernie and whoever went in there with him, it was either the trooper or the sheriff. They went in that room and they came back out. Didn't work. So Ernie, when they went in that room, he calls Shelby and goes, "Hey man, tell me you killed that guy. Why'd you do that? Something like that." So Shelby's like, "What are you talking about?" And he knew. Why would Ernie call him and do that? He's not. I guess he's not that dumb. But so I told Mike Cornett, the lead detective, I've got a tape recorder where I work with. I'm a reporter, so I record my interviews all the time. I will call Shelby tomorrow, and I'll ask him about the murder. He freely told me and Ernie about it. So he said, you feel safe doing that? And I'm like, well, yeah. If you're going to go arrest him, I'll get him to say it and I'll record it. And he said, you get him to you say that, I'll get the warrant and we'll come and meet you and go get him right then. So next morning, I wasn't even ready yet, and Shelby called me. So I scrambled. I was like, hey man, I'm just getting up. Let me call you right back. So I got up, went and got the tape recorder. I called. And I said, why, when, how, why'd you do that for, man? What possessed you to do it? I can't remember exactly what I said to him, but I remember a lot of what he said to me. One of the big things was, he's like, Jimbo, I zip tied him and duct taped him and couldn't get him to, he fought for his life and he kept coming out of that stuff. So I took a pillow, put it to his head. Okay, so it hadn't been released. That there was a pillow hole next to the body. So that was the key in getting the arrest warrant. So I called and played that voice recording on speakerphone. Are you trying to say something? Cutting out real bad, Griff.
The pillow is what gave it away.
The pillow was the way they got the warrant.
I got you.
Now Ernie provided them information the night before on where the gun was. Like he told them it was inside the door panel of his truck, of Shelby's truck. Actually, Shelby's girlfriend or wife's truck, I can't remember.
Right.
And that's where they found it. But to get the warrant, it was the pillow. That had not been released to anybody. Nobody knew that. So,
I keep going with the stories when you told us the other night. You told me the other night about the story. I keep going back to the fact of him, of what Ernie told you at the house. After you had just got through listening to Shelby tell the story and Shelby left, right before y'all went to the police station the first night. I remember you telling, you asking Ernie when he talked about it, but I keep going back to the fact that Ernie's saying that when Ernie told you that he was going to, you were next. He said you were going to be next. He thinks you got a lot of money.
Yes, he did. Yes. And I never even thought about that until I talked to you, and that came up, and I was like, and you said that, that Ernie may have saved my life, and, he very well may have. So, kudos to Ernie on that one, I guess, but yeah, that's bone chilling to even think about. So yeah, that's scary to even look back and think about. Now when I played this recording for Mike Cornett, and there was a lady detective too that was involved. I can't remember her name, but they said that's it. That's all we need. He said, can you meet me? Because to get to Berea from Harlan, you got to go through Corbin. Well, that's the easiest way, and get on the interstate and go to Berea. So he said, will you meet me right there off the exit in Corbin and give me that tape, that recorder? I said, absolutely. So I met him over there, played it for him again in person, gave it to him, and to this day, he still has it. I don't want it back. And they still have my gun. I don't want it back. But they went and arrested him. Now, I also got Shelby on the phone when the state police got there, and Shelby was getting in his truck. So I kept Shelby on the phone and kept him preoccupied. And one of the last things I remember Shelby saying was, "Hey man, there's cops here. They're everywhere." He said, "They're surrounding me. They're coming after me." And then no more talk. They got him. They arrested him. So Ernie, in all his videos where he's got his hat on, he's dark, and I brought a serial killer to justice. First off, he's been convicted of one murder. And I don't know of him killing anybody else. Ernie claims he brags about it, but Ernie brags about a lot of stuff that didn't happen too. So he's not a serial killer because he's not been convicted of anything else. But not officially anyway. So he's just an official murderer, not a serial killer. But Ernie did not bring him to justice. I didn't want to be on WYMT, the news. I didn't want to be in the newspaper. I asked them to not even have me testify. They said, well, we need you to corroborate the recording. So I had this guy slam dunk 100%. We got you. You committed the murder. You talked about plucking dudes' eyeballs out. you talked about, fellatio with the man to get him in position to wrap him up. I got that information. So Ernie didn't bring nobody to justice. If anything, when this thing went to trial, they attacked Ernie. The defense attacked Ernie and his credibility. And they made a mockery of him, like all his scams in the past and his claims of bounty hunting and claims of this and claims of that. Just like the people in Cotton County that wanted to see evidence, proof. They didn't have no proof. Ernie didn't have no proof. He couldn't back
up. Well, also the way the family was toward Ernie. I mean, it was like almost the fascination that Shelby was put up on a pedestal, pretty much, so to speak. Shelby was God's gifted. The family loved the hell out of him.
They did, and they still do.
How the family act? When I gathered, all the family pretty much, they pretty much did not trust a word to come out of Shelby's mouth. I mean, even his uncle, even his sister.
Yeah, Ernie's got a couple of sisters that we'll go ahead and get that part out of the way that have a different father.
I got you.
Those girls are Ledfords, I think, and now they didn't follow the Shelby train.
Right.
There's like 5 or 6 of them. I don't know how many, but there's a couple brothers and a couple more sisters, and they all think at that time they were thinking Ernie did it and framed Shelby. That's what they were saying. Like, I've got.
But to be clear about it,
saying that.
for Ernie's sake on this matter, not all the family members were on the same page as far as the way they felt about Ernie. They were they had different views about it. But the ones that did
he did. He thought Ernie did it and framed Shelby, and he was adamant bringing up Ernie's in trial. Bringing up Ernie's past of being a liar, and then not trustworthy, and now Shelby wasn't convicted.
Right.
He pled guilty after, but the trial that happened when they played the confession. I mean, you got a confession, and based on Shelby's testimony, well, I don't think he testified, but based on the evidence, which was a slam dunk. You got the murder weapon. He had the murder weapon on him when they arrested him. You got some of the man's jewelry, some of his old, like he had pennies and stuff that were old money. You got that, and the confession, the gory, detailed confession.
It still wasn't enough to sway more than half the jury member.
6 jurors still. There was a reasonable doubt in their mind.
Right.
And it was because of Ernie's credibility. 100%.
Now this trial happened in Harlan, though, right?
The trial was moved from Harlan to Bell County. It was a Harlan County judge, but he was in Bell County.
Now, was the jury of his peers, was they all from Harlan, too?
I think they were Bell County.
Bell County, okay. So you can't really say that it had something to do with familiarity, in other words. You can't throw that in the mix.
Well, none of his
he was able to just on Ernie's own testimony, basically putting his own self out there, but his characteristics and also the family, basically character witnesses against him, he was able to sway. In theory, he pretty much was able to sway 6 of them 12 jury members to where they wasn't quite sure if they could say that Shelby did it. Now, that's not saying anything about that. That's just kind of a point.
They picked him apart online, Ernie, because during his testimony, and you can go back in those video clips that are on that live page and other places, but when Ernie's testified, he won't look at Shelby, he won't look at the prosecutor, he's doing this right here. Yeah, my brother did this, my brother did that, he told me he was going to kill me, and he told me he's looking down. He won't face anything. So, take that for what it's worth, but all the experts that were talking about body language really destroyed him online over that.
There was also an instance after the trial where where Ernie was trying to make it. Well, actually, that's where the serial killer's kind of idea come into it. There was another murder that he was trying to that Ernie was adamant about trying to push on Shelby had something to do with it.
Yeah, Ernie still claims, well, I don't know if he's to this day, but for forever and ever claimed that jewelry that Shelby gave his girlfriend, Ernie's girlfriend at the time, that she wanted to go up there and turn in, had the dead hookers, or I don't want to say hooker, she was an escort, I think, but from Lexington, Kentucky, that was found on the side of the road dead, claims that it had her DNA on it. Well, no, it didn't, because if it did, they would have prosecuted that Shelby for that too. You know, that's another one of Ernie's, you know, dreams up things in his head. And you know, and I really don't care if he wants to sue me for slander or libel. I'm telling the truth, what I know to be the truth, and sue me for what? Were you trying to say something about it?
Well, I'm just trying to, can't get it caught. The echo is just going to have to be dealt with, folks. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know whose thing it is. I know I've got all mine off, and I'm not on another channel except for StreamYard right now. I've even shut down YouTube, so I don't know what to tell you about that. Some of this has got to be done. I want to try to get through this as much as possible. If we got to go middle age on us, we'll go do the sign language. I need to learn how to do that right quick. I don't know if I got enough time. I don't know if I got an app for that on my phone. But I will do whatever I can. The point of the matter is this is where the beginning of the predator hunter pretty much come into effect. Now, this was back in 2013. It's only 8 years ago. Now, we're talking about 28 years experience. Now, mind you, we have yet to apprehend our first person. We have yet to find a missing person. We've yet to find or rescue a missing person. By this time, it's 8 years. I mean, this is after now. I'm just, it's 8 years ago. So we had 20 years prior to this. We've got no evidence none of this happened. We've got a couple of mess ups with a mask here and there, and and a couple of missteps on a promotion of a wrestling ring. Other than that, we don't have nothing to really go and collaborate as far as the mythical predator hunters or origin. So we're still trying to gather up. Now we're already up to 8 years from now. Now it's 2021 now. All right, now we're gonna lead up to this episode. We can go up through several other conspiracy points or fraud points or points of deception if you want to, but to get us up close to ranks, mind you, the last 6 months, I know in my mind it's felt like it's been over 2 years, 5 years long. It's been a very long 6 months. So I'm gonna bring Matt back in just for a second. As far as the clarification from when the predator hunter met the CBD store owner, the majestic one herself, Tina Simmerly. Matthew, you still there? You ain't fell asleep, have you, boss?
No, man, I'm here, brother.
All right, big dog. Could you, that was sometime in October, correct? Prior to the January 6th insurrection.
Yes, it was around election time.
I got you.
That was when they really started to push. They started pushing a lot of their conspiracies through the community groups at that time too. So,
right.
I think they sort of
I got you. But pretty much they come to the same commonality as far as beliefs wise about the about what they thought the government, what the country deserved to have, pretty much that on that political side, if you want to say that, on that realm.
right.
Thinking. Right. I got you. Like I say, everybody's political matters don't matter to me much. I mean, I keep up with it. Y'all know my side as far as my views are about it, but that's no sense of branding anybody about it as far as I'm concerned. Political values are not what we're getting at here. But it does have it does play into the counteraction of it. It plays into it if you don't fall in the line, which that's a commonality. We've seen that over the last 4 or 5 years. That if you don't follow suit, you're completely outcast. You're banished. You're just on the wrong side of the fence. The far right, more or less, correlation.
That sort of sucks when you don't lean either way, really.
Right. Right. If you try to stay close to the center, like a conservative Republicans, you just stay too close to the middle. You're still, they even attack you there. I've been there and I've done that. And that's why me being a Republican, I've had to deal with that too. The common sense wise, that you lose that effect on that, and it's always the more radical, the better it is. It's kind of a scary situation. It's a really slippery slope, but they tend to grip it on and hang it on pretty good with it. But that's it. With that fact being done, we got now the last 6 months I know of, and what we've gathered the last 6 months is a chain of events that it happens to fall where it's almost like an ambulance chaser sort of effect to me. You've got an effect of chasing a cameraman or trying to find the angle to get in front of a camera, to pursue an angle to where it justifies the means, so to speak. Put yourself out there as being somebody you're not, which is actually fraud. It's actually it's not defamation; it's just actual fraud. Also, with the injection of asking for documents to be forged for him online from certain individuals, i.e., college diplomas, and I'll get to that in just a second, Jimbo. It all falls in the category of a man trying to make himself a myth or make himself something what he ain't. It's in my opinion, that's what I've always diagnosed it as the hero complex, more or less, or the God complex. It can be all rolled into one. That is a very dangerous mix. You got both of them. Whenever you can control the climate and try to be the hero at the same time and control the outcome. It's all a narcissistic view, of course. But can you touch base on any of that you've been able to find out?
Well, I've noticed the January 6th insurrection, whatever you want to call that. You have that. You have the Summer Wells disappearance. You have the Brian Laundrie manhunt. You have the man has claimed to be a werewolf, and somehow that's going to bring him some glory. I don't get that one, but hey, he's definitely trying to put into a situation where he can be seen and it being circumstantial to get himself somewhere. He don't want to work for it.
Pretty much think if he's got an edge, he makes it work. He's going to work.
We're asking him for it.
That's where we fall short.
That's the things that he's claimed to do. He sits there in front of his
That's where we fall into defamation. That's where we end up being accused of defamation when it comes to that. When it comes to the fact of showing proof, evidence of what he needs to do. And like I said, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to speak at the same time. It's hard for me to speak when I'm muted, so you guys might just let me handle this, please. I appreciate y'all trying to help me, but we cannot do this if one of us can't speak. I was talking. I can mute in between, but it's like playing Morse code with each other, with tap, tap, tap. The fact of the matter is, whenever a man puts himself out there, make his claims that he has made these that all this stuff has happened. He's trying to show facts by not showing facts. He's telling us, wants us to believe a narrative that he has created, a facade, more or less. And if we say something against the facade by doing simple research, and it don't take much. Most of the time you find it right quick. Google will show you. I'm sorry if you can still find where a fickle is a definition, but whenever you push fickle into the definition, it's going to tell you that it is a common misspelling of the word official. Now, the werewolf point. Of course, there's a video, audio's going out there now, Matt, I've seen, you have too. The Lycan character and all this, that's another thing that nobody has conjured up. Nobody has said all that to himself. Nobody has just created this thing and said, hey, we're going to make him a werewolf. No, we didn't create this monster. We didn't create this facade. We didn't just stamp him with a character, did we? Now I'm going to mute myself so everybody can hear you.
I was going to say, I've got the receipts of his conversation with me about him wanting to be a werewolf, wanting to meet his dad. It's really dead, but he was going to go meet up with him in Wisconsin, supposedly do his first kill. And this is what he told me. Well, not me, but, But yeah, he's, apparently he has told his family members that he believes this. He's been verified that he does need help. His family has said this. I've seen the screenshots. He definitely believes this somewhere, somehow. And I know that he told me, his mother told him this. His sister also said this. So, I mean, you can take it for what you want, but it's like you said, Griff. It's along the lines of he's looking for glory, or to be some mythological god, you know? Like, he just wants to be out there and not do anything but tell the story. He's not going to do the work for it.